Jennifer Palamas from Charlotte, North Carolina, and this is BBQ Central.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Welcome to the really big BBQ Central Show, a show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling, originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you right here on the show. You want to jump in? Phone call, email, one, both, neither. Here's your contact information to do it.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening coming up in about 12 minutes from now, maybe 13 minutes. Been out of pocket for a month and a half, out of the country, really. The creator of Barbecue Bible and the first third Tuesday of the month regular guest, Stephen Raichlen, will join me. We will be backing up Stephen with second, third Tuesday of the month regular guest and creator of GrillGirl.com, Robyn Lindars. Plenty to catch up with her. And then we move into the second hour. We have a second-time guest coming in, first time a number of years back. She's the pitmaster of Sugar's Barbecue. You will be seeing her August 1st, and with a host of other barbecue and grilling hopefuls, or hopefuls probably isn't the right word. They're all going to be on this television show called Barbecue Brawl, Simon versus Flay, or Flay versus Simon, however you want to bill it. We'll be talking to her a little bit about that and getting into some of the other barbecue catering, rubs, and sauce and stuff that she's into. Lene Oxley Loop will be joining me. It's great to catch up with Lene, big fan. And then 35 past the second hour and coming out of the bullpen. As you know, in 2019, I have been very diligent in holding up my end of the bargain of doing a barbecue documentary, and we've been doing that with the creator of what is called One Sauce. That is Dion Blumenrader, and he will join me to talk about what is happening as we are bringing sauce from concept all the way to market, and he is flush full of brand new information hot off the presses. So Dion Blumenrader to close it out. Lene Oxley, top of the second hour, and then 35 past the first hour, Robyn Lindars, Stephen Raichlen coming up here in just a few short minutes. If you aren't following me socially, shame on you. You missed a great reveal earlier this morning. You can do it on Instagram and Twitter at BBQ Central Show. Also, Facebook/BBQ Central Show. You can also find a video feed there as well. You can also find a video feed on YouTube. YouTube does have a rolling chat that I monitor as well, so if you want to be seen and as well take part in some conversation, you might want to jump over to YouTube or stick right there on Facebook, no problem with me. I'll look through that chat roll as the show ends this evening and then reply back where I can. You can email as well, Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. All right, well, I don't know if you heard it.
A Barbecue Central Show exclusive news update.
Coming up, out of the breaking news desk right here in Cleveland, Ohio, it's Greg Rempe. And if you are a fan of the Howard Stern Show, and who isn't, I've been a fan loyally since 1997 when I graduated Ohio University. Started driving to Lakeland Community College out there in the metropolis of Mentor, Ohio. And started listening to him on 98.5 WNCX here. And then, of course, made the leap over to satellite radio when he did that in, was it 2010 or whatever it was? And I have been not necessarily under wraps, but started a online correspondence / friendship with one of the show producers, Jason Kaplan, and he had a huge barbecue blowout 3 weeks ago or so, and it was kind of getting up to speed on that as it was actually happening. It looked like a great event. But they brought him into the show today for a segment to review the barbecue. Now, look, if you're not a fan of Howard Stern's show, you're not going to get where this is going anyway. But if you are a fan and you get what's going on, there is an extreme amount of ball busting that is going on. Jason happens to be one of us. He is a huge live fire guy. He owns a number of cookers. He's got a Lang stick burner. He's got a pit barrel cooker. He's got a Green Mountain grill. I think he's got maybe a Weber gas grill, probably another charcoal grill. I mean, he has outfitted the likes of a vet live fire cooker should be. And like all of us, we love to entertain. We love to show off what we know how to do. That typically involves large cuts of beef and pork and ribs and chicken and everything in between. So we had a big soiree. They brought him in to kind of hammer on him. Hey, you're fat. You're always eating too much. You're not exercising. You're unhealthy. Why don't you get a grip on this whole live fire thing? Well, lo and behold, Howard Stern says, I hear you even listen to a barbecue podcast. You can hear the actual audio of it happening live. If you go to my Instagram or Facebook and go into the stories, you can hear that audio right there. And he said, hey, I hear you even listen to a barbecue podcast. And he says this like it's the craziest thing he's ever. There's a podcast for everything out there on the face of the earth. The barbecue podcast should probably be one of the least surprising things that are happening and that are some of the most popular podcasts out there. And Jason said, I do. It's the Barbecue Central show. He gave a mention on the show right there on the Howard Stern. Life is complete. Goals achieved. Death come upon me now because I will be a very happy man. So I got a very brief organic mention. And he said, hey, I don't even know how you could do a barbecue podcast for this long, but there's just a lot to talk about. I mean, he summed it up supremely in like 2 sentences. Gave a mention, said, I can't believe that there is a podcast, but there's just a lot to talk about. And if you're not in the subculture, I mean, Jason, we feel the pain as you were getting hammered relentlessly and you have skin as Teflon. And like, wow, I can't believe it. He just was able to deflect and say, you know, if you're not in the subculture, if you don't get what the deal is, if you're not deep into it, it can get super steamy. There's no doubt about it. Then everything isn't going to make sense. Why I listen to a barbecue podcast, why I correspond with certain folks isn't going to make sense to you because you're not in it. But if you're in it, you know what it's all about. So, Jason, I mean, unbelievably grateful that you gave a brief mention of the show by name. Are you kidding me? Wow. That check for $13.78 will clear and is in the mail as we speak. So thanks again. If you missed it, you can go to my Instagram again and hear that audio. It's replaying all day today. So if you have a Sirius subscription, get after it and hear the show get mentioned right on the Howard Stern Show this morning. Now, I do need to take a minute and thank a good Samaritan named David Hill. You don't know him. I didn't know him until last Thursday night. I was down at the beach, Edgewater Park, downtown Cleveland, started heading home, and must have put my phone on top of the car. Never picked it back up. Didn't notice it until I got back home 30 minutes away. Called it to try and see where exactly the hell it was. And then someone answered the phone. And it was David. And he told me he had found the phone in the parking lot, was happy to return it. I didn't know how long he was going to be there and the traffic to get back to that event. It's quite a drag, so I asked if he might take it to the Proper Pig food truck, which I know personally, Shane and Ted, shout out, and leave it there. And he said, no problem. I'll do it right now. I quickly DM'd the Proper Pig guys, let them know that my phone was going to be heading to them on my work computer before I headed back to the beach. And look, David Hill had every chance to keep the phone, to hold it for ransom, to throw it in a garbage can, to throw it in the lake, literally, and go through it, try and pilfer any pertinent info. He did go through the phone, but it was actually to reach out to my most recent Facebook group chat and said, hey, I found this phone and this is where I'm at. So I'm very happy that the phone fell into his hands instead of somebody else's malfeasant hands. And maybe I'm lucky that he is a quality human, for sure. He mentioned to me that he wanted to make sure his girls saw him do the right thing and turn it in. And that's a great example to said David, and I'm very, very thankful. So I say this to David Hill of Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you for finding and turning in my phone. Easy to think that anyone would do the same, but I'm sure that's just not the case in many different instances. But with David Hill, it was the case. By the way, David and his cousin have a clothing line. So if you are into some of the latest fashions and you wouldn't mind checking them out, look at them on Instagram at maniac_vanity. That's at maniac, MANIC_vanity, VANITY. David, mucho apreciado, my friend. And hopefully we meet in person, maybe down at Edgewater in one of the upcoming Thursdays. Who knows? Good things happening. Great show. Stephen Raichlen queued up, ready to go. I'm going to talk to you quickly about Big Papa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue, a curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies. Get you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. Everything at Big Papa Smokers has been Pitmaster approved by Sterling Big Papa Ball himself. They have 13 perfectly balanced rubs and seasonings. Whether it's something that I love like Sweet Money or Cash Cow, they have Cattle Prod, they have Money Rub, Double Secret Steak Rub, you name it. They're all there to help you impress judges and your friends and family alike. They also have a great relationship with Steph Franklin over at Simply Marvelous Barbecue. Putting those two rubs together gets you the West Coast offense, however you choose. They also own a barbecue sauce. You ever heard of Granny's barbecue sauce? You might want to check them out. If you're looking for a new go-to barbecue sauce that will please everyone, Granny's traditional yet powerful flavors remind us why we fell in love with barbecue in the first place. You can find it at BigPapaSmokers.com. And don't forget about all the grills, right? If you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use, you want to check out that Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. Big Papa Smokers, the exclusive Mac dealer, even offering special packages that nobody else can. If you're not into the pellet smokers, no problem. Take a look at the Old Hickory Ace BP, the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts on his competition trailer. Many other ones to choose from. Look on their website. If you're not sure what grill you need, you really can't go wrong with any of those that are featured on the website. They have something for every kind of backyard cooking budget. If you have any questions, you call them 877-828-0727, 877-828-0727, or shop the website, bigpapasmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA, smokers.com. Mr. Barbecue Bible. Out of the break, Stephen Raichlen. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And this portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils, all of Butcher Barbecue products tested on the competition circuit as well as in backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood. You visit butcherbbq.com to stock up now. As we say each and every week, always trust your butcher. Central Lights, it is the third Tuesday of the month, and that means it's time to do a segment with industry icon, TV show host, creator, and instructor at the popular BBQ University classes. The list, literally, goes on and on, making his triumphant return back to the barbecue jungle. Indeed, it is Stephen Raichlen. Stephen, how are you, pal?
Good, man. How about you?
I'm absolutely fabulous, Stephen, and welcome back here to the United States as you were globe-trotting around, which we'll get into here in just a few minutes. But I did want to start a couple weeks ago. July 4th happened, which also saw the launch of the Project Fire TV show. So very excited to see that out for everybody to consume visually, and just wondering if you're hearing anything from people on the street as far as how they like this version versus a Project Smoke.
Yeah, everybody seems to love Project Fire. I think it's a little bit broader in scope. Project Smoke maybe was a little intimidating for people who had never smoked before. I'm getting stopped at a lot of airports, not just in the U.S. but Italy. So all's cool.
When you get stopped at an airport, Stephen, I mean, this has happened to me 0 times and counting. Is it, hey, can I get an autograph? Or did it used to be, can I get an autograph? And now is it, can I get a selfie?
Exactly. In the old days, it was autograph. Now it's selfie.
Do you like that? I mean, does it get a little obtrusive sometimes, or are you always happy to take a shot? I mean, an autograph for me is one thing, but a picture, I mean, maybe I'm not looking my best that day, whatever, and maybe I don't want to, take a picture, but I would assume that could be off-putting to the person asking.
I am always happy to do it. My viewers, my readers, my fans enable me to have the greatest career on the planet. So I am deeply honored. If you ever see me in an airport, don't hesitate to come up. It'll be my pleasure to meet you.
Stephen Raichlen joining us here on the show, as he does the third Tuesday of every month. So as we look over the next handful of episodes during this Project Fire, what are we going to be looking at from a topic standpoint?
Well, actually, I'm working on now because the show started airing, but we're still editing and working on the final shows. So this morning I was just doing the voiceovers for 2 of them. One is called Chino Latino, and it's a look at a style of cooking that originated in Cuba in the 1850s when the first Chinese workers were brought over after the abolition of slavery. And in a sense, it's fusion cuisine, but the fusion is Asia and the Caribbean. So I took that idea and kind of riffed on it. We've got ribs with guava barbecue sauce. We've got Korean-style brisket tacos, but the tacos are more served in a Mexican manner. We do a turkey, smoked turkey, but with mojo de ajo, the Cuban garlic sauce. So pretty cool show. Let's see. I was also working this morning on a show on called Miami Spice, and again, it's another sort of fusion. Miami's this incredible tropical melting pot.
Were you cooking in your finest linen outfits like Don Johnson on Miami Vice?
Yeah, well, actually, no. It was pretty cold where we were shooting in Steenhatchee, Florida. So I'm wearing sweaters and trying to look summery while really freezing.
So, you split time, as we talk about on this show. You're up at Martha's Vineyard, and you're also down in Miami.
This is my office, everybody, in Martha's Vineyard. You've seen the office in Miami, so there it is, a little simpler, but...
When we talk about Miami and we talk about the Cuban influence, one of my favorite sandwiches is the Cuban itself. Is there a right way in Stephen Reichlen's mind to make a Cuban sandwich properly?
Well, let's see. What makes it interesting is you need at least 2 kinds of pork, right? You need roast pork, and that pork will be seasoned with an adobo, a garlic, sour, orange mixture, and then flavored with mojo. You also need ham. You need Swiss cheese or Gruyere. You need mustard. You need pickles. Traditionally, you need Cuban bread. I will be honest with you. I don't think Cuban bread is all that terrific. It's very anemic. I like a bread with a crust, with some color. There you go. About 500,000 Cubans will shoot me when I get back to Miami, but there it is. Another sandwich I really love is called the Medianoche, the Midnighter, which is a little smaller, and it's on a brioche bun rather than on Cuban bread.
So in lieu of Cuban bread, and if you're not doing the sandwich you had just mentioned, are you like ciabatta guy on a Cuban sandwich, or French, or what?
I'm cool with ciabatta. I'm cool with a French baguette. I'm also cool with cutting it in half, brushing it with melted butter, grilling it, which is decidedly untraditional. They would use a plancha, but that's an extra way to add flavor too.
All right, Stephen, so let's talk a little bit about jetting off, I guess, to Italy first. And for as much as I had akined you, that's not a word, to French Canada and French in general, I mean, everybody knows you're fluent in French. You have been more and more becoming a staple over in the Italian world. I know you had done a TV show of Grilling Italy where you kind of visited, but then you also put Stephen Reichlen's spin on some Italian dishes. But you're back there, and you had conducted, I guess, what was the first BBQ University outside of the United States.
That's right, in Italy, in Turin. at a fantastic store called Barbecue Paradise in Turin, Italy. By the way, Turin, a very neat town, totally off the tourist radar. It's a beautiful 19th century town full of arcades, piazzas. I strongly recommend visiting it. But at any rate, the real reason I was in Italy is a book came out based on the TV show. It's a book entitled Stephen Raichlen Grills Italy, although every other word in the book is in Italian. Great pictures of our travels, and we had a book launch party in Rome and a book launch party in Naples. So that was pretty cool. And I did the classes and the 2 book launch parties in my broken Italian, their poor ears. But unlike the French, if you make an effort to speak Italian, even if you make a lot of mistakes, they're very happy.
So many follow-up questions to go to. I mean, I've ventured into Canada, and I think that sums up all of my traveling abroad experiences. So when you look at Italy and, you know, from a number of different barbecue views that I get from, you know, coming in from competition barbecue, I mean, you look at Europe in general and you see there's a huge growth of barbecue in general, grilling, of course, which they've always done, but the low and slow, like southern barbecue style is really starting to take over there, growing in popularity. So what is the culture like? I mean, as you put your finger on the pulse of the live fire industry out there in Italy, how do you gauge it?
Well, first of all, I think there are 3 big differences between Italian grilling and American grilling. And number one is a fanatic, almost a fetish-like obsession with the purity of the ingredients and with seasonal ingredients. And concurrent with that is when you start with amazing ingredients, you do as little to them as possible. So the notion of a rub, a mop sauce, a barbecue sauce is not part of the Italian DNA. Really adventurous recipe, a very typical recipe might be a piece of fish or shellfish, you know, a whisper of olive oil, squeeze of lemon juice, some salt and pepper. Now, when you get to the south of Italy, the flavors get a little bolder, the dishes get a little more complex. But in general, Italian grilling is very, very simple.
And is that a charcoal-based grilling or wood-based?
Yeah, primarily charcoal and wood. Gas, you know, they have some gas grills, but charcoal and wood. The other thing that's really interesting about Italian grilling is a lot of it takes place in the fireplace. And a lot of it takes place in fall and winter. So Italians do not put away their grills for the season. They simply move indoors. They have a really amazing grill in northeast Italy in a region called the Friuli region. It's called a fogolar. And imagine a raised stone platform under an onion-shaped dome on which you build a wood fire, and then you grill on a grill that's kind of on legs over that wood fire. The whole thing vented out the ceiling. Sounds like a setup for a kitchen, right? But that's actually in your dining room or your living room, so
really?
or a restaurant dining room. Yeah, so it's a very intimate live fire cooking is very much a part of the Italian zeitgeist.
So when they bring in their cooker inside, as you had mentioned, they all have a similar venting thing like you're talking about, because we would, of course, strongly discourage anybody from bringing a charcoal burning device into their house otherwise.
Yeah, well, this is only one part of Italy where they have the fogolar, and it is well vented. But elsewhere in Italy, people grill in the winter in fireplaces. There's a lot of fireplace grilling, so you're cooking over woods, you're getting all that great flavor. It's, for a guy as obsessed with flavor and whose recipes to an Italian would look extremely complicated. Funny, I remember when we were taping the show, someone somewhere, they served a piece of grilled fish with a bell pepper sauce, and the guy was horrified. How can you dilute and camouflage the pristine flavor of the grilled fish with a bell pepper sauce? Well, I was like, yeah, right on. And you know what? Let's make a bell pepper hash and put it on top. Just different styles.
So what about the low and slow barbecue kind of stuff? Is that something that's like in there or not so much?
Oh, it's very big, but obviously it's a complete import from America, and they are just they are at the stage also where Germany was about 10 or 15 years ago, and Holland is where they are trying to duplicate replicate and duplicate Southern style American barbecue. And there's some very good barbecue out there. I'd say brisket is sort of more challenging because Italian briskets are much leaner and drier than our briskets. But what will be interesting to me in sort of the next maybe 5 years when somebody says, hey, let's use the American low and slow smoker and smoke, but let's do it with Italian flavors and try and come up with something, an Italian take on that. And I know it's coming.
You think that'll happen over here?
I do think it'll happen.
Yeah. All right. From a book standpoint, certainly all of us in the subculture know who you are. I mean, you're a top name in the industry. And if you make a book appearance, people are lining up to have you sign, take the pictures we had talked about a little earlier. But, in Italy, for instance, I mean, does the name hold the same kind of weight? Are the line still as robust? What's the reception like there in a completely different country that, it has a good grilling history, but isn't like what we're used to?
Well, obviously the whole thing takes place on a smaller scale because we're talking about a nation of 60 million people rather than 300 million people. However, I guess there aren't a whole lot of American grilling authorities who are on Italian television and have several books in Italian, including one written exclusively for the Italian market. So I guess I do sort of stand out somewhat, and my Italian is far from perfect, but nonetheless, I did these master classes in Italian, and I do make an effort always to speak Italian. So I get a pretty warm reception there.
How did the BBQ University go?
It went great. People were super enthusiastic, and Italians being Italians and enormously proud of their region. People were bringing the cookies from Sicily and focaccia from Liguria and wine from the Piedmont. So it was I really got to enjoy their food culture as well as they're enjoying my food culture.
Did you have a favorite dish while you were over there?
Favorite dish? Yeah, it has nothing to do with barbecue. Although
fine.
I will tell you a sick application you could do because I did it once. But there's a pasta dish famous in Rome called cacio pepe, and it is a pepper and provolone cheese. Pecorino cheese pasta. The sauce is just simply the cheese, pasta, water, a little butter whipped together. It's fabulous beyond belief. So. That's delicious in its own right. In the highly unlikely event you ever have any left over, here's what you can do because I've done it. It comes out of the refrigerator kind of cold and congealed because the butter and has seized up. You put that mass tangle of noodles on a hot grill, and you grill it so the butter melts the noodles crisp, and you make, in effect, a grilled noodle pancake. I haven't done it in Italy yet. I don't want to wear out my welcome. It's such a radical idea, but I have done it at home.
All right. Stephen Raichlen joining us here on the show. BBQBible.com is website, of course. You also spent a week in Portugal, obviously another country I have never been to. So now I have heard of grilling traditions there. So talk to us a little bit about what the live fire experience is in Portugal.
Well, first of all, I happened to be there during the height of sardine season. So grilled sardines everywhere. And these are beautiful silvery fish, nothing to do with the stuff we get in cans. Big, plump. I mean, some of them are this big. Wow. You find them at street fairs that spring up in the parks. You find them in neighborhoods. People set up little hibachi-like grills. And the only seasoning, the fish are grilled. They're very fatty, just with a sprinkling of coarse salt. However, I may have stumbled upon a secret, and that is I watched a fisherman unloading a boat full of sardines. And as he unloaded them, he kind of dumped them into a tub and sprinkled them in layers with salt. So you might have like a kind of a slight briny thing going on, which adds extra flavor. Absolutely no sauce, served on a coarse bread, almost like a semolina bread. €5 for two sardines on a sandwich. have that with a beer, and that's a great Portuguese snack.
What kind of a beef culture do they have over there?
They do raise cattle in Portugal. I did not have it, to be honest with you. I was really focused on the fish. We were down in the Algarve region, and the Algarve is their southern coast. It's actually in the Atlantic, but we found a number of restaurants, super simple places right on the ocean, big charcoal grill, just super simply served a sauce, kind of a fried garlic olive oil sauce. Very simple, very delicious.
Is it an American thing, Stephen, on the whole, that we decide to push the boundaries and have all of these intricate recipes and flavor bombs and all that stuff? I mean, if you look at the other countries that you've been to, do they tend to go on more of the thin string kind of a thought process?
Well, it depends where you are. In Europe, grilling tends to be pretty simple. However, if you go to Southeast Asia, if you go to India, you go to Bali, in that part of the world, the food is every bit as elaborate as it is with us. Super flavorful marinades, basting sauces, fiery chili sambals. I mean, I think that's one reason I gravitate to that part of the world. The food, the grilling is never understated and never boring in those parts of the world.
Stephen, let's quickly talk about grilling whole tenderloins, because I know that was a blog post of yours, something that you're kind of talking about recently. And I see them now more and more in Costco once I joined there a couple months ago, and they have a great selection of beef over there, prime beef, actually. I can get a whole tenderloin for, $110 or less. So, I mean, it seems like a lot, but I mean, it's a pretty decent sized piece of beef.
Yeah, you're serving 8 people.
Yeah. So what do you like to do with it?
Well, a couple things. I mean, first of all, trim it, oil it, salt and pepper it, either directly on the grill and just grill. It's about 4 to 5 minutes per side, 16 to 20 minutes in all. I'm actually doing a dish tomorrow night. I donated a class to a local charity, so somebody bid on it. And I'm doing what I call the Raichlen cheesesteak. Now, you may have seen this on Project Smoke or Project Fire, but take your whole tenderloin, slit through the side to make a deep pocket, and in that pocket go grilled onions, grilled mushrooms, grilled peppers. Then you tie the whole shebang up. Also provolone cheese, right? Because think about it, Philly cheesesteak, what do you have? You have peppers, you have mushrooms, you have onions, you have cheese. Grill it the way I described. And then I like to serve it on grilled garlic bread with a chipotle mayonnaise. So it's taking a simple cut. The great thing about tenderloin, people always think of it as something very fancy and time consuming. It's super easy. It's super quick. I mean, often if I get unexpected company and I want to shine, just tenderloin, 30 minutes of work and you got a beautiful piece of meat.
You always suggest to do it whole, or will you cut into filet mignon and do it that way?
I like to do them whole. I think it's impressive. First of all, it's easier. It's less labor intensive. I think it's very impressive. Something about the act of starting with a large cut of meat, cutting it up and serving to people. It's very primal, kind of back to our hunter-gatherer days when to lead the tribe, you got to feed the tribe. The head hunter brings back a big hunk of meat and cuts it up for everybody in the community.
Stephen Raichlen is back here on the Barbecue Central show. His website, barbecuebible.com, of course, and the TV show Project Fire is currently on your television, so make an eye out for that and watch them as they progress along the season. Stephen, always appreciate the time, and welcome back.
I look forward to talking to you next month.
All right,
Bye-bye.
There he is, Stephen Raichlen, right there. Look at that guy. Falling back into the fold very easily, traveling like, Did I catch it? I don't think I caught it. Oh, dear.
Continuing to produce incredibly.
Stop it. Okay, now hold on a damn minute. Let me get back to, wow. I don't even know how that happened. Let's go back to here. There we go. Jeez Louise. What about? Make sure we got that there. Yeah? Right. Okay. Oh my. Now we're all set. Robyn Lindars coming up out of the break. That was Stephen Raichlen, BBQBible.com. Project Fire on TV right now. All right, folks, let me talk to you quickly about Southside Market and Barbecue. Oldest barbecue joint in Texas, owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. They offer premium Central Texas barbecue, and they slow smoke that over real Texas post oak wood, shipping, distributing, manufacturing sausages for companies across the U.S. From food trucks to multi-chain restaurants. Southside Sausage can be on your menu, too. All meats are processed right there on the on-site USDA facility. Trusted partner with a focus on quality and authenticity. Wholesale options available. They ship nationwide via the FedEx. You can also pick them through food service distribution channels like Sysco, U.S. Foods, and Martin Foods. Co-packaging capable, from research and development to package completion. They can also follow your recipes or help you develop something brand new. Private label opportunities also available. Visit SouthsideMarket.com for more information or to shop for yourself. And as you check out on SouthsideMarket.com, enter coupon code BBQ Central. That's one word, lowercase, BBQ Central. Get 10% off your entire order, not just first order, all orders, every time you go to SouthsideMarket.com. And that is promo code BBQ Central. Do it! Hook up with that sausage slammer and the beef sausage first. Jalapeno cheddar sausage, too. Get those 3, save 10%. Then let's have a conversation. Okay? Let me make sure I got Robyn ready to go. She's ready to go. All right. Stick around. I'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And this portion of the show is being brought to you by CookingPellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit CookingPellets.com to purchase. You can also visit Amazon.com as well if you would care to. Don't forget to download the Cooking Pellets app, COOKIN. CookingPellets.com is the place to go. Chris Becker and the gang over there. I think we got Chris Becker locked up for next week, maybe the week after that. We'll see how it goes. Hey, the third Tuesday of the month also brings a visit from the creator of the GrillGirl.com website, Robyn Lindars, joining us. Hey, Robyn.
I'm on Barbecue Central.
Yeah, there's Scott Lindars. Whoop, whoop. Oh, wait, he ran away. What happened? I thought we were going to get some...
Like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm on Barbecue Central, duh. And you just walked in right as you were announcing me.
Doesn't he know that
accidentally?
I was mentioned on the Howard Stern show today, Scott. I mean, well, come on. Best day ever.
A big deal.
Yes.
It's such a big deal. That's so awesome.
Unbelievable. And it was like totally organic. I didn't even see any setup coming for it until all of a sudden there he said, Barbecue Central right there on the show.
Stober shared it with me, and I was like, OMG.
I know.
We were texting about it. That's so cool.
My heart was pitter-pattering.
They're like, how can you talk about barbecue for an hour?
Or 2.
It's a good thing. No, really. They do.
We are very in-depth over here because there's a whole I mean, how can you talk about 2 hours about anything? But somehow we've managed to do it for the last 12 years.
But there's so much to talk about.
Of course.
That's why there's Barbecue Central Radio.
There's so much things happening. We have to do it every week, and we have to do it live. No other way to do it. All right, Robyn. So, man,
and cheers to you. I'm having a margarita with you.
Thank you. I'm just drinking water as usual. Keep it real. So you have been like a mover and a shaker for reels. You left Fort Lauderdale. Are you out for good now, right? You left Fort Lauderdale?
We have left. Technically, we're in Hollywood, but that's, in the greater Fort Lauderdale area.
Right.
So, we have left. I just got my last pod that was full of grills, which is why Scott's so annoyed with me right now, because we just have so much shit and it's overwhelming him. And I'm like trying to befriend my neighbors, like, hey, do you need a grill or an electric smoker or a jogging stroller?
Or all of those things?
Yeah,
my goodness. So what are you doing with all of that?
It's so stressful. And it's like, my life feels so like discombobulated right now. Like, I don't even know where my clothes are because I don't have a dresser, because because like my old house, they bought up a lot of our furniture. I just feel like I'm camping right now.
Are you like renting a house until a point to be determined? Are we in the glamper right now? I mean, what are we doing?
We actually have the glamper parked out in the front yard and our duck boat parked out front, just like little, I guess, rednecks that we are. And where we rented a house, we fit just right in.
Nice.
But we rented a house in North Fort Myers on the Caloosahatchee River. And it's actually a really sweet gig. And, originally I was being kind of negative about the house because it has this really ugly kitchen. And, it was just hard for me, even though but the house is really awesome. And you guys are going to see some really kick-ass like backyard shots with a river behind it when I'm grilling, which is going to be really sweet.
Well, I think, if we're honest, there are probably few houses in the country that had a kitchen set up like you guys had. I mean, it was pretty badass.
It was really awesome.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that was a lot of our sweat equity is that we put a shitload of time into that house. And that's why we're doing this, because we like that stuff. We just are like into that kind of stuff, like Scott's into his gear room and his duck hunting. And like, I respect that he's into his stuff. I have like way too many grills and then that takes up a lot of room.
So do you just have like pods set around the house and it's just going to stay like that and you go in and out of the pods as needed to get your stuff, or you're not going to like kind of semi move into this place until I assume you're building a house?
They pick it up. They just drop it off and you get your shit out and they pick it back up. We just had we had staged our pods.
Yeah. And
we originally only ordered 2. And then when we started loading all of our grills in, we ran out of room and had to order a 3rd pod.
Huh.
So that's why I've been grilling on my hibachi grill all week, because that's all I had. But I was really enjoying it.
All right.
My Lodge Sportsman, if you guys have ever seen it, it's like this really cute cast iron hibachi grill, which is so fun to cook on, and it's super portable.
Well, I'm trying to figure out where we want to go, because I mean we could just talk all night about 20 acres of like nothing and how you get but maybe we can get into that here at the end. So let's talk a little bit about
it's crazy over here. It's like there's a lot of interesting, fun stuff to talk about. Just discovering a new part of Florida, because Florida is such a crazy, funny state anyway. So hashtag the Florida Chronicles with Robyn.
Yes, all right.
Hashtag Pioneer Woman of Punta Gorda.
Punta Gorda, yeah, I like that. Ree Drummond might take issue with that, but I'll run with it until she decides to file cease and desist. Yeah. Punta Gorda. So let's talk about the YouTube video, or the you're calling them grilling classes, I guess, that you put online here. Was it last week or the week before? It was pretty recently.
Yeah, it was last week.
All right, so
finally got it ready to go.
You've unveiled these to the general watching public. So let's talk a little bit about concept-wise. In an age and a day, or a day and age, where master classes are out, there's this whole new thing in the barbecue sphere that is like master class, but it's only barbecue people, and you're paying either per class or you're paying a yearly subscription to have access to everything. Why dump a bunch of really well-produced videos, short, of course, but did you think about charging for these at all, or was it like, no way?
Actually, the intended purpose was when we did it, we weren't totally sure what we were going to do with them, but I had the opportunity to film with my business partner / also my manager, Garrett Bess, because he was in town in Miami, and we're like, let's just do some videos together, because I didn't have really any YouTube content that I had filmed with him, or any content really other than stuff we'd done for like a sizzle reel and like really highly sponsored stuff. And I was like, why don't we do something where I don't have to be like having to hack a sponsor and like do what we really want to do. And I financed some of it, and so did he. And we just filmed some really great videos, and we were like, could we offer a class? Maybe. We had been toying around with like subscription models of things, and we went through a couple paths, and he even talked to a friend of his that was like someone that could be a potential investor in things. And we just decided that, everyone's trying to charge for content, and that's not always the play. The play is sometimes about empowering others, and that's what these videos are about, is that, and also the idea too is that I used to do these women's grilling clinics way back in the day. And I didn't do as many after I had a kid, because my life got super busy, because they were also a lot of work. I did so much food prep. I was like the one the one gal, it was like doing a small catering gig and then teaching. It was just a lot, you know?
Right,
And so
sure.
I just physically, keeping a day job and whatnot, also just couldn't do that full time. And I never did it for the money to do those classes. I did them for the greater good, but you couldn't do them all the time. It was just like very taxing. So I liked the idea of being able, but I would do them sometimes on the road. I did a women's grilling clinic in Knoxville, Chris Grove from Nibble Me This, and then I've done a couple on the road with sponsors and things like that. But I thought the idea would be like, now you can be empowered to learn this stuff anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to come and set up 8 grills and have the class physically there. Like, if you want to learn, information should be at your fingertips. Albeit, while my grilling clinics are awesome and we drink a lot of wine and a lot of really good socialization goes on and networking and just like fun times, this is about like, if you want to learn to grill, look at me. I'm Robyn. I'm a total pipsqueak. And if I can do it, you can do it too. And here's the basics. And once you get the basics down, now you can be a total badass in your backyard, and the basics should be available to everyone so they can empower themselves to cook outdoors and have that experience, because it's awesome and fun.
So did you and your co-investor or co-financier storyboard what you wanted to actually shoot, and are you able to knock these out all in one take-ish, where you're able to, maybe it's a little longer than 2 or 3 minutes, and then you edit out what you want to get it down to the consumable time?
Yes, and those are all good questions because, and from you doing the show for so long, Greg, and producing it yourself, there's so much that goes into it. Even just, that's why people don't realize, like, it's very easy to produce a food video where all you do is put the camera looking at the ingredients and you go like this, and then you edit it down. But being an on-screen personality is actually pretty hard, while also trying to like remember all the shit you're supposed to say and look at the right camera angle and blah, 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 so there's all of those things that you have to take into account when you do storyboard, which is like, here's the ingredients I want, here's the way I want them shot, blah, 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 like you're kind of are doing all these different parts. So you have to kind of plan all of these things out to be super productive when you're filming videos. And also, if you don't have a food stylist, you better you're going to have to do a shitload of prep, which means you're probably not going to be super energetic the next day on camera because your ass is worn out from prepping so much food. So these are all things to think about, what kind of budget do I have to do things like hire a food stylist or, whatever it might be. And so I think those are the things that can go into that kind of production, do those things warrant how much we have to charge to do this level of production as well? Almost like Garrett himself has filmed on a lot of for a lot of food type TV shows like the Food Network and whatnot, and so that the production value, it's very expensive to do it. You get a grip, and they have the truck that shows up and pulls a shitload of equipment out, which in all fairness these days you don't even need to have, because everyone's doing such a good job doing stuff at home with a tripod. But this is still that's what you see when you get to that, when you do that level of production.
Well, I think if you look at if I shot a video on my iPhone or I did a tripod, I took some of my studio lights out. I mean, I could make it look good to a certain point. But if you watch your videos, I mean, just the intro and the edits and the way that it sounds, you sound like you are professionally mic'd up because you're professionally mic'd up, or they got a boom just off to the side of you or something like that. Yes. So, I mean, it is very TV-esque in its production. So for as good as you can make it on a shoestring to spend the money, I mean, there's a tangible difference in the end product.
Absolutely. It makes a difference in, and so I hope they do well. And I just hope that honestly, they help educate people. And I'm here to spread the gospel of how awesome it is to be out here grilling, socializing, meeting cool people that this, you know what? I feel like the world is very divided these days, but it's something that everyone loves to do is just cook outdoors and have a cookout, or, and if you smoke whatever it is, even more awesome. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's a positive thing to put out there. So I hope people embrace it.
Have you ever thought about doing a podcast?
Yes, I have.
Oh, yeah?
I just,
do
I'm
you-
such a rambler. I'd probably be great at it because I can just ramble and get off topic and come back to it.
Like, how do you see the
And
grill
some people
girl?
might call that ADD.
Maybe.
Which could work against or in my favor. I don't know.
Depends on what audience you're looking to catch with that hook. But, like, how do you conceptualize that podcast looking? Would it be food-based, or would it just be the Chronicles of Grill Girl? Or, I mean, would you put a podcast starting tomorrow about how you guys are starting to overtake Punta Gorda and build from the ground up? What do you think?
No, well, I think that I can document that in other ways and pepper that in. But I think if I did a podcast, it would be like maybe I would almost like want it to be like The View, where you have like regular people that you kind of say like, what do you feel like about this topic? You know, and then we all discuss and have banter. I can be kind of more the moderator and add funny jokes and but you know, so it's kind of almost more like I don't want to say a variety show, but yeah, like we get together and we kind of hash stuff out. And you know, you may not always have the same people, but you might have like common lineup, like when you see on like Impractical Jokers, you always have like the same four guys.
Yeah,
that what an interesting analogy. But I don't know, I think I don't know, that's sort of what I always envision, like you and me and maybe John Solberg. We kind of just have like, we just dork out and we're like, today we're going to talk about the best way to start a charcoal fire. And John might be like, I love a flamethrower. And you might be like, no, I just love using my loop lighter. And we could just like hash out about really silly, dorky stuff.
Yeah.
That grilling dorks like ourselves would hopefully enjoy.
So do you think it's going to happen, or is it just like a good concept to keep in your brain for now?
No, let's do it. I think we should.
Oh, all right. We're gonna do it.
And I am working on I'm being a lot more strategic with Grill Girl now. I'm thinking of it a lot less like a blog, and really what it really is a media company and a publisher. And which you've seen with a lot more variety on my site. It's just not just Robyn. It's like I've got recipes coming and tutorials coming from lots of different perspectives, which I think is fun. And yeah, so yeah, I think there's some opportunity there, and it would be something that I know a lot of potential sponsors would like. I think podcasts are very popular right now too, and I think that there would be I think I would do well on a podcast because I'm crazy.
Well, all right, that's one way to bill yourself. I'm crazy. Before I let you go, Robyn.
Good way.
Yeah, crazy in a good way, of course. Well, I mean, there's hard to find bad crazy. So, just real quick before I let you go,
but not like crazy ex-girlfriend, like fun crazy neighbor next door.
Crazy like a fox. Right.
Maybe.
What are you What are you into cooking right now?
I don't know. This sounds crazy, but I've been thinking that I want to catch some fish in the canal and the river behind my house.
What's in there?
The guy that one of the guys that unloaded my pod was like, he comes over and he's like, oh, damn, this is a great place to fish. He's like, where the canal and the river hit. He was just cracking me up. And I was like, oh, you're right. I never thought about that. So, I don't know. I think if I could catch maybe like a snapper, I don't think you can cook snook. I'm not totally sure. I want to like catch something from the canal and cook it and say I caught it myself. And so that's like my new thing that I want to try.
Do you think you would like to fish?
I did a little bit of fly fishing in college back in the day.
Yeah.
So I think that I could. You know, I thought it might be fun to paddleboard in that river too, but then my neighbor said that there was a 16-foot alligator that lived there and that it was like nesting season. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm definitely not going to do that now.
So was he just saying that to be a funny guy? I mean.
No, that's true. She's like, don't let your dog swim in the river. Oh. I've seen like a 16-foot alligator. And I was like, oh, thanks. And she's like, obviously don't let your kids swim in the river too. So.
Yeah, right. If you're not going to let the dog swim, don't let hunters swim in the river.
Yeah.
That would be bad. All right. So if you catch a snapper or whatever fish you may or may not get, depending on if the alligator decides to eat it or let you have it, Let's whip up a recipe that you can share next month for fish season. All right.
Let's do it.
All right. So you can
We're
find
making a smoked mullet, which is like a traditional South Florida smoked fish dip.
Okay.
Which, yeah,
smoked
that's a good
mullet.
one. That'll be a backup if I don't catch anything, because I think I can catch these mullet with a net.
All right. Yeah, mullets with a net probably. That'd be nice and that's kind of a sure thing, I think, right? If you can catch it with a net.
It sounds like more of a sure thing than me fishing.
Right. Grillgirl.com is the website. You can follow her on Instagram at GrillGirlRobyn, currently 16,200 followers and climbing. And you find her here on the BBQ Central Show the third Tuesday of every month. Robyn, thanks so much, and we'll see you again next month. Love you.
I like the podcast idea.
Hey, thank you. There she is. Robyn Lindars, the Grill Girl. Again, the website, grillgirl.com, and check out the new videos if you have not seen them yet. I got to make sure that I hit the right button here because stop, right? There we go. Yeah. If you go to grillgirl.com, I believe they're right there on the front page, or there's a link for grilling school or grill school videos, however she has them titled. And there's a good 6, 7, 8 of those. If you are a fairly adept griller at the moment, you know accessories and you have the right tools and you know how to start a fire, some of them might be a little repetitive. However, if you're just getting into it or you're just finding the show because the Howard Stern Show mentioned it today by name, and you're like, hey, I think I want to find out more about this live fire stuff, then you want to check out Robyn's videos because she breaks it all the way down from the very beginning on how to even start a chimney of charcoal. Talks about briquettes and lump. Then she actually gets into cooking stuff too, so she'll get you acclimated pretty quickly. Again, that's grillgirl.com. Check it out. We are getting ready to wrap the first hour here. If you have any questions you would like me to answer or you would like to ask the upcoming guests next hour, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com is the email address. You can also call in at 216-220-0966. Live feeds on YouTube and Facebook for the video side, tunein.com for the audio only, which is truly how the show is meant to be heard in its live format, but video as well, as requested by the loyal Centralites. So check those out, and we'll be back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the BBQ Central Show.
Welcome back, and thanks to Robyn Lindars for joining me last segment. Again, her website, grillgirl.com. Check out the new videos if you haven't. We may or may not be in for a smoked mullet dip recipe next month, or some kind of a smoked fish. I don't remember if she said grouper is a real big fish, right? Did she say snapper? That seems like a big fish to me too, but I don't understand fishing at all. Brian Ashman asking, who does the intro voice? Well, come on, Brian. Everybody knows who that is. That's the Lee Monster, David Lee. David Lee Imaging. Check him out. You can Facebook him or get at him on the worldwide internet. He's the voice of what was Westwood One back in the day, Style Global or whatever the hell it is now. professional bull riding, motocross, all of the Clear Channel stuff. That's who does it. Brian. David Lee. His last name is like real hard to say. I don't even know if he knows how to say it. So he just shortened it up to Lee. But that's who it is. A real voice professional. Sean81073. Am I still recording intros? Yes. And we're out.
Hi, this is Sylvie Curry from Ramona, California, and I'm listening to the BBQ Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet 4 wieners.
So listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seed.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. It is the Barbecue Central Show. It was quick on that answer to Sean, if I was still recording intros. The answer is yes. And you might have heard right at the top of the second hour, our very own Sylvie Curry, Lady of Q, dropping an ID on that ass. Very good. As a matter of fact, if I go through my content folder, we have IDs from Doug Scheiding, Dino Dan, Gene Epicella, Jeff Stone, Sylvie, Meat Mitch, Steve Ray, Stover, Harger, the 17th, Terry Heil, Briskydorf. What else do I got? Patio, Daddio, John Dawson, Jim Minion, of course. The list goes on and on. So if you forgot about it or you had a plan to drop an ID on me, I am always recording. All you have to do is call the hotline off hours, not between 9 and 11 on Tuesday, 216-220-0966, and all you have to do is this. Hi, this is, state your name. You can say your team name, you can say your catering name, you can say your business name, however you want to identify yourself. What I recommend is, hi, this is Greg Rempe from Cleveland, Ohio, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Or you can say, hi, this is Greg Rempe, pitmaster of blah, blah, blah from Cleveland, Ohio, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Or you can say, hi, this is Greg Rempe from Cleveland, Ohio, and I am listening to the Barbecue Central Show. There you go. I'm an ID cutting maniac. I'll tell you what, just send me your name and where you're from. I'll cut your IDs. How about that? We'll make it easy on everybody. Sound great. Nobody will be messing up. It'll have high fidelity audio on it. No, in all seriousness, for everybody that has taken the time out to cut an ID on the hotline, thank you. And if you're interested in doing it at any point, that's all you have to do. 216-220-0966. Hi, this is blank from blank, and I'm listening, or you're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. And then I will take it from there. And it will go into the folder, and randomly they'll be picked out, and who knows? At the top of every hour, at the beginning of every show, and at the beginning of the second hour of the show, you will hear an ID. And at the end, typically, too. So there's a very good chance that at some point down the line, if you cut an ID, you will hear your ID live, just like Sylvie heard hers. Oh, so fun. Still to come on this show tonight, Lene Oxley Loop from Sugar's Barbecue. A lot to talk about with Lene. And we will also be catching up with my 2019 Barbecue Central Show documentary project. Sounds weird to say project. Person. of interest. Dion Blumenreiter, who is creator of the One Sauce. So we'll see what's happening with him as we are closing out the second quarter of the year. January, February, March, April, May, June. This is July. So we've just started the third quarter of the year. So we just missed the second. But we'll get caught up with our quarterly update with Dion and see where we are in the sauce project here. And most importantly, I mean, now we've heard it go from concept. We know initial meetings. When is this sauce going to hit the market? When do I get my hands on a test sample, Dion? One Sauce, good on everything. A lot of people say my homemade barbecue sauce. That, by the way, if you sign up for the Barbecue Central Show newsletter, you get my homemade barbecue sauce recipe as a thanks for signing up. They say that's a really good one-all sauce, too. Even on beef. I'm not necessarily a big barbecue sauce on beef guy unless the beef isn't that good and I'm trying to hide it, I guess. Nevertheless, let me get back to the original topic. Cut the ID if you want to. Don't forget you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram and Twitter / BBQ Central Show on Facebook. YouTube has a live video as well on Tuesdays. Everything's archived on the main website, the bbqcentralshow.com. So if you don't subscribe to podcasts, if you don't like social media, if you hate YouTube, and somehow you still love this show and you want access to it, all of the replays, all of the time, just visit the bbqcentralshow.com and all the archives are there, or it can direct you to where you would want to find said archive. 81, that is the number of the episode that will be showing up in the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday. And you hear a doubleheader from none other than the head Shedhead Brad Orson from The Shed. This one ranges back to May 2013, and that year we talked to him about The Shed. I think we got some history on there. The story of The Shed, actually, if you go back to NBBQA, not this past year, but the year before when I was live on location in Fort Worth, I had a very engaging conversation with Mama Shed, Linda Orson, and she gave us the down and dirty on how The Shed actually happened and how Brad had no idea how to cook barbecue, but he was a business-savvy kind of kid, talked his sister out of going back to college after she came back for a summer, and she never went back, and how The Shed was born and how they rebuilt after the big storm that pretty much knocked it all the way down. It's a great story. Linda tells it very compellingly, I might add. So go back into the archives and get that. But we talked to Brad about The Shed, and then that was also the year in 2013 when they took a whole hog champion, not an overall grand championship at Memphis May, but they took the world title in the hog portion. So we talked to him about hog cooking and what it's like to take the world title in whole hog at Memphis in May, which some would argue is widely the most coveted portion of those three meat categories. Up for debate, of course. I have no side on either three. I would love to cook all three expertly if I could. I think I make pork shoulder the best, rib second, and I've never cooked a whole hog in my life. And I have to be honest, I don't know if I've ever had less of a desire to cook a whole hog than I do to cook a whole hog. I just have zero interest in it. I don't know why that is. A little off the board here, so stick with me. I'm a huge music fan. I love music. I would say a number of years ago, I was playing a song, and I said, hey, here's what I've noticed. This song is really creepy. My wife told me that a large percentage of women listen to music for the words, and a large portion of men talk about beats or riffs as far as what's important to them for a song. They don't listen to the words. And I would say, at least in my point of view or the way I live, that's absolutely right. I don't give a crap about the words. I don't listen to the words. Words mean nothing to me. I want, in a rock song, I want good drums, tight drums. The drums and the bass need to be right on time. I like good, meaty guitar licks. And if there's lyrics, okay. I mean, I'll take it, but it doesn't matter to me that much. And then, every once in a while, I'll start listening to the lyrics. And I thought for a long time, until 3 days ago, this was by far the creepiest song ever. Wait, hold on. This was the creepiest song ever. Everybody knows this song, right? Everybody knows this one? WMBC. Coming at you, ladies and gentlemen. Kip Winger and 17. Yeah. Creepy, right? Well, not yet. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Creep time. Creep time. Right? So, you know, it's a creepy song. He's talking about something. But when you really start to break, and I hate to be the guy that breaks down lyrics, right? The 17-year-old appears to be the promiscuous one of the two. I don't know if Kip is, kicking her out of bed for eating crackers, unless crackers was his dog. However, from what I can ascertain from the song, she's the one that's driving this potentially hazardous relationship. And it's still creepy. That, to me, was one of the creepiest songs I'd ever heard. And that was up until 3 days ago when I heard this song, which now takes the mantle of creepiness. You ever heard this one? Little Benny Mardones, or Mardones. Benny Mardones coming at you into the night right here, WNBC. Little yacht rock radio for you. Yacht rock radio on my yacht in the marina. Listen.
She's just 16 years old. Leave her alone, they say.
She's just 16 years old. What?
Get that big stuff out of here.
Dude, what? She's just 16 years old. Leave her alone, they say. 'Cause it's highly illegal. What?
Separated by
Fools.
who don't know what love is yet.
Because it's illegal. If we could date, I'd end up in jail. It's totally gross. I'm gonna get arrested. I'm a freak, a pedophile. This is it. I mean, this is easily the creepiest song ever on the face of the earth. Easily. I think I have to get this song off of my hard drive immediately. I think I might be arrested or caught up in some kind of weird circle. It's gross. It's horrible. It's terrible. Benny Mardones needs to be arrested. I mean, give me a break. It's never listen to that song anymore, folks. I am executing my executive privilege, and I am banning Benny Mardones from the internet forever. Thank goodness. Oh, my God. Well, now I have to go take a quick bath talking about 16 years old. My friends say don't do it because your friends don't want to go to jail, dumbass. Lene Oxley Loop coming up out of the break. I'm going to talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills, some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. 2 lines to choose from, okay? You have the classic line, you have the prime line. If you want something a little bit more robust, if you want to look in the cooking chamber with the lid down, if you want to look in the pellet hopper without lifting the pellet door up, if you want 2 internal meat temperature probes, if you want to look at that prime line also has the 12-volt power technology. So good. Same size as the classic line. Now, if you don't need all of that stuff or you want to save a little cash, on that classic line. Jim Bowie, Daniel Boone, both part of that. Davy Crockett is not involved in the prime or traditional line. That's all by itself. That is the creator of the 12-volt technology, actually. If you want something that you can take to the tailgates that are going to be coming up, college football games, professional football games, you name it, the Davy Crockett is great in portability, gives you that wood fire taste with the wood pellets, of course. You're not sacrificing a tremendous amount of capacity in order for that convenience of taking it with you, right? No. They also have pellets and rubs and sauces and everything you need to complete your outdoor cooking experience right there on greenmountaingrills.com. Greenmountaingrills.com, longtime sponsor of this show, and we appreciate it. Lene Oxley from Sugar's Barbecue. Coming up, stick around, I'll be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And this portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring or connect via Bluetooth. If you have Google or Alexa, you're in luck because they're fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. That's 816-945-2232. All right, my guest in the second hour, make sure I don't make that noise. Very accomplished competition cook, runs a successful barbecue catering company. Also appeared on a number of TV shows, include the upcoming Barbecue Brawl, Flay versus Simon show starting August 1st on the Food Network. Let's race to the Fogo Charcoal Hotline and welcome back the pitmaster of Sugar's Barbecue, Lene Oxley Loop, on the show. Lene, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for having me out here, Greg. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I don't have Skype right now. My laptop and Skype don't get along, so it's just a phone-in, old school.
I would say most of the time my show and Skype also don't get along for some reason, but, you know, I've muddled through it these last 13 years with a sheer amount of stubbornness, as I'm sure you can appreciate. Yeah. Were you familiar with that creepy song that I was playing just before we got to you, Into the Night? I mean, did you realize it was such a pervy song?
You know, yes, actually, it's funny. There are a lot of pervy songs, but yeah, the first one, also the Cherry Pie song is just kind of a little bit creepy too.
Yes,
but you know, of course, you're dating yourself because I know all these songs, and that was like high school for me back in the day.
Yeah, well, so Sirius XM has a yacht rock radio channel, so I just started like listening to that because for some reason I actually envisioned that people that had yachts, this is what they were listening to. So I'm like, well, someday I have to own a yacht, so I got to get ready for the music that I have to tune in when I have my yacht. And it was like a really crappy late 70s and early 80s soft rock. And that song was on it, and my life changed 3 days ago, probably not for the better.
I just bought a new car. I have my catering truck, and then I also have a brand new car that I bought. Treated myself too because I turned 50 this year, so I wanted to get myself a midlife crisis car.
Good for
so
you. Way to go.
Nice little sports car.
Yeah, yeah.
But and so it has you know, a lot of new cars have a couple months of Sirius XM, and so I was filing through some of. Usually I listen to Spotify. I'm usually listening to a couple of different things. One is your show, so I think I've caught up on almost all of your podcasts.
Right. Great, thank you.
And then the filing through some of the files on the Sirius XM because I just don't ever listen to that station. I came upon Yacht Rock and I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was there. It landed on the song that you just played. I don't know who it is, but
yes,
it was very funny.
Well, see, you've fallen into the same trap as me. All right, Lene, so let's get to the barbecue business. I don't want to assume everybody knows you or that they've dug back through the archives. So if we could just get a very quick history of Lene and how the barbecue bug bites you, and then we'll build in from there.
Yeah, sure. Just in the nutshell, so, Sugar's Barbecue was born in 2006, and I competed locally in the Pacific Northwest with the Pacific Northwest Barbecue Association, so regional association that kind of governs a lot of the competitions here, Oregon, Washington, somewhat into BC and the surrounding states, and obviously also the KCBS. And so I got started in that. Did pretty well and just kind of got the bug from there and started traveling around doing some competitions. Landed myself into some of the larger competitions, and then slowly but surely the competitions started to kind of fade out, and Sugars became a business. You have all this leftover barbecue from these competitions, and you give it away at work or whatever, and suddenly somebody wants you to cook ribs for their daughter's birthday, or you want to do, and suddenly then you're doing a wedding, and then you're doing an office party, and it kind of just blossoms from there. So Sugars sort of morphed from competition to full-on business. And at the same time, I had my day job. I was working in a retail environment in a grocery store at my day job, just doing menial stuff there. And the phone kept ringing. I kept having more and more business, so I left that job. And now Sugars is full-time and has been for a number of years, and it's one of the best decisions I ever made. I mean, it's going gangbusters. I mean, the phone doesn't stop ringing. I'm doing tons of catering. We feed tens of thousands of people summer and more than that, and then just growing and growing. And in between all that, I also did some television as well. I did Barbecue Pitmasters. A lot of people have seen those series. I mean, and I still get traction from those shows. I mean, that was 2013, 2015, and people still watch those shows. They show them on repeats. My phone blows up every single time they show those shows, and people book our services for catering. And then I filmed a couple of Chopped episodes, and so that took it a little further. And then I've got this new show, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And then I kind of, sort of an avenue from the business was the retail line that I've got that we'll talk about here. And then, of course, the barbecue classes. So that's kind of the really quick nutshell of the timeline from pretty much 2006 to current.
A barbecue whirlwind, Lene.
Pretty much, it's my life. I mean, I have my home life, but I don't really do much in the way. I don't get out much. I mean, it's constant work. In fact, I'm looking at my laptop right now, and I'm doing invoicing, waiting for you to call, and doing shopping lists and things like that. But I love to do it. It's a passion. Just listening to just like Robyn. I mean, she's in a sort of a different barbecue world, but it's still the same thing. I mean, I love empowering other people to cook and teach them, and obviously I like to promote the products that I have that I developed, and that just gives people a little inspiration to go out on their own and do some really cool stuff and grill and cook. And whether it's competition, whether it's backyard barbecue, it doesn't matter to me. It's just all live fire cooking, and it's just one big, huge, happy family. So
Lene
cool.
Oxley Loop joining us here on the show. Sugars Barbecue, BARBECUE. Sugarsbarbecue.com is the website. So let's talk about that TV show that you had just referenced a second ago for as much as we can. August 1st, there is that show hitting the airways. Big Mo was on the show last week, and we talked a little bit about the judging side of stuff. But whatever you're legally allowed to tell me about, what can you say about this show?
Well, I'll preface this by saying my website, sugarsbarbecue.com, is actually what's up right now is the older version of the website. It is being completely overhauled. It's way overdue. So a new version of the website will be launched here in the next week or so. I'm very excited about that. Lots of opportunity to purchase things online, which I don't have the opportunity to do right now. You have to sort of send me emails, and I can send you products. But in any event, as far as the show is concerned, Barbecue Brawl, it's really funny. I was actually looking at it online, and there was actually another show called Barbecue Brawl. And so this one they're calling Barbecue Brawl Slay versus Simon. And so, there was a few pitmasters and myself. We went out to Austin to a private ranch out there earlier this year, and they filmed this show, and I believe it's a 4 or 5 part series, and it was a ton of fun filming. First of all, I love going to Austin. Any excuse to go to Austin and try some amazing food there is I'll take it, and if I can get filmed for a television show, it's even better. So, it's kind of like Chopped meets barbecue pitmasters. So there's some mystery food involved with it. and there's a timeline, got to cook something under a certain length of time type of scenario. And then, of course, Mo was a judge. Amy Mills was a judge. And then Chris Lilly was a judge. I mean, unbelievable, respected judges. These guys know their barbecue. They know their food. They come from different backgrounds, different lines of expertise. So it was fun to sort of get my food judged with, in front of those guys. And then how it all worked out with Bobby Flay and Michael Simon. Those guys were just beasts in the kitchen, and especially on the barbecue grill. It's just watching those guys do their thing in front of you is incredible. I mean, these guys are Iron Chefs, and they're. I mean, I don't really watch a whole lot of television. Don't have time for that, but I have seen those guys on Iron Chef, and to meet them in person and see what they're doing. I mean, a lot of people kind of blow them off as just these, bloated TV personalities and these chefs and stuff. These guys know their stuff. They know how to cook. It was really, really cool. Very inspirational to me as a chef myself, but also as somebody who loves the barbecue. And it's pretty cool. It was a lot of fun to film. I'm just wondering how they package the show, quite honestly. I don't know how they're going to package it. I mean, I think most of the blips that are up there and the little teasers that are up there are saying that we're, very respected pitmasters, which is great. I love that. And then there's this mentor aspect of it, which is kind of cool. So I don't know how, from Bobby Flay and Michael Simon. So I don't know how they're gonna piece it all together in terms of seeing it from the contestant side, so to speak, and then seeing a finished product. And I'm gonna watch it at the same time everybody else does, so I don't get any sneak preview or anything like that. So I'm excited to see it. From a business standpoint, it's awesome. It's a great boon for the business. It's free advertising. How can I say no to that? So, from a contestant standpoint, it was a lot of fun, and I had a good time. And you go and you cook your butt off. I mean, I'm no stranger to these competition barbecue shows and cooking shows. I love them. I think I have a great time with them. I mean, they're thrilling. They get me out of my element. They allow me to stretch a little bit of my culinary skill as a chef. So it's not just sort of one note cooking ribs or chicken or brisket or pork, which tends to be a little repetitive after a while. To do some other stuff is a lot of fun.
Mo did mention last week that if you were just a four-trick pony, and he was obviously referencing the four major proteins that you would cook in a competition, that this wasn't going to be the show for you, that you were going to have to know how to do it and use other ingredients and be able to whip up something from scratch, as it were. So was it two teams of four pitted against each other to a certain degree or something like that?
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what the division was, and how everyone got to that divide is sort of a mystery at this point. So, and then I mean, he was right. I mean, I was listening to that show, and because I wanted to know his take from the judging point of view, because he sees things that I didn't, and vice versa. And he's right. I mean, this show was not easy. None of them are. You need to showcase a little skill beyond just competition barbecue. And, I chased what I wanted in competition barbecue, got out of it because I just didn't really want to chase it anymore, and got back into just more and more complicated cooking and more chef-driven, seasonal-driven cooking, which also included a lot of live fire cooking and barbecue techniques. So, and I'm doing a lot of really cool stuff. So I think going into this show, as was the same with Chopped, as was the same with Pitmasters, I brought some chef skill, and I brought some talent in the kitchen to the stage themselves, to the camera. And I wasn't trying to do it for the camera. I just, listen, the bell goes off. We've got 30 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever the time is, and I'm going to cook my ass off, and I'm just going to throw down and do what I can with the pantry ingredients that are presented, with the time frame I've got, with the cooking equipment that's delivered to me, whether it's a kettle or whether it's a piece of crap grill or whether it's an oven with a grill grate on the top of it, whatever it is, and to make something that's, one that's going to outshine the contestants, because it is a game after all, and that's going to showcase those skill and going to bring some judges a little bit of, something different, maybe something they haven't had. So I think there's going to be a lot of really great things that are going to be showcased in this show coming up. I certainly cooked a lot of really cool stuff. I'm excited for people to see it, so we're going to see what happens with it.
Lene Oxley Loop joining me here on the show. Did you know all of the other contestants that were there?
Yeah, we all knew each other, and that was really cool because when we all sort of saw each other for the same time, of course, when they're assembling everybody, you know, we can't really talk to one another. They're not going to divulge who else is on the show. We actually all saw each other. We're like, oh, hey, it was like a reunion. So we had a really good laugh at it, and you know, they kept us very separate. We really weren't supposed to talk to one another, and because they all sort of knew we knew each other, and you know, talking about stuff, but. You know, you're going to see some surprises as contestants in the show. I'll guarantee you that. You're going to be like scratching your head going, what the hell is that person doing there? But at the end of the day, you know what? It's fun, and it gets people watching, and it gets people inspired. And this is a business, and I love doing it for the money because I make a good living on it. But at the same time, I like doing it to inspire other people, especially other women, to get out and grill and bust our ass on the grill. I mean, especially with Robyn and, you know, and some of the other women that you've had on the show as well that I've become big fans of. And it's just awesome. It's just a lot of fun.
Do you think that the industry has been missing some kind of a new barbecue show, and this is something that is going to help reinvigorate, or is this just kind of another peace bridge to hopefully keep some kind of momentum rolling?
I think, you know, that's a good question. I think how do I answer that? I think to a certain extent, some people will look at this show and go, wow, that was refreshing. That was new. You know, it's a little different spin. It's not the same old regurgitated, you know, just, you know, like, you know, vapid show that gets, you know, aired. And other people will be like, oh, it's the same old, it's the same old crap. It's the same people. We're tired of seeing them. I think there's a lot of excitement with this show. I think it's going to definitely, and I agree with Mo, and he mentioned earlier on his show, it's going to go on for several seasons. It's only going to get better. This is the first show. They got to work out kinks. I mean, that's just with all the rest of them. You know, with Pitmasters, I think the first show was, you know, the granddaddy of the show. They had these, you know, tried and true, ultra, you know, known professionals doing this stuff. And then the second season kind of jumped the shark, and people were making, you know, coleslaw, and they're making, you know, God knows what, and they were judging. It just like kind of lost its track. And then towards the end, it kind of got, I think, back on a little bit, and it got exciting as far as I'm concerned, not only from a participant aspect, but also from a spectator aspect, which was really cool. I think this show is going to be refreshing. Personally, I think it's going to be a good show. And I'm excited to see it. Again, just like I was saying, I'm excited to see how they patch it all together and make a show out of it. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens. You know, haters are going to hate, right? And people are going to be there. But I think every season, I think that you gain new followers. You kind of lose some people that are just kind of moving on in their lives, and they're just tired of the same old thing. And then you gain people that are coming up. On a side note, I mean, there are a lot of people in barbecue, a lot of young people that are getting into barbecue. And they're getting into barbecue in Portland, and they're getting into barbecue in New York, and they're getting into barbecue, and they're being inspired by a lot of these shows. They're being inspired by things that they see, that they read, and they're taking hints, and they're taking some tradition from the old guard from Texas or from Kansas City or wherever, and they're going about it and doing some things that they want to do, and they're bringing some amazing food to the forefront and feeding some people, and they're introducing some people to some incredible food. So I think it's as far as I'm concerned, from a spectator aspect, I think it's win-win. From a business aspect, it's win. It can't lose as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, right.
And I think it's going to be a good show.
All right, Lene, let me ask you a quick question. We got a couple minutes left. I wanted to touch a little bit about. Obviously, the rubs have been out. You also, I believe, unless I got it backwards, but I believe the rubs have been out, and now sauces are starting to come in. So let's talk a little bit about products and how you were able to stand out in what is becoming an increasingly crowded division of, sauces, rubs, seasonings, and so forth.
Sure, absolutely. The market is crowded. There's a ton of stuff out there. A lot of people have their own spin. You know, the short answer is this. I mean, last year I launched my rubs, and I have them in little 7-ounce pouches. I like the packaging of them. That's unique. It's done all purposefully. These are made by me from the ground up seasonings. I didn't take anybody else's seasonings and add extra garlic to it and call it my own. People do that. That's fine. That's their thing. It's not mine. There's no MSG. There's no flowing agents in there. These are true to form rubs and seasonings. These are ones I used when I was competing, did really well on them. And then these are ones that I use in catering every, week in, week out. And the sauces came on this year, and the traction has been tremendous. I mean, the interest has been amazing. I've moved a ton of pallets of product, and they haven't really even hit the website yet at all. And I'm getting, I'm basically adding at least 2 to 3 accounts per week, which for me, that's pretty good. I mean, again, I'm doing barbecue classes. I'm also doing the catering, and then I've got this retail line. So it's great. I've got distribution. I'm looking for some national distribution, which is going to come down the pipeline. And so we're all over Oregon, all over the coast. We're getting into Seattle. A lot of grocery stores, independent and otherwise, are picking up the product. So It's wonderful. The sauces, there's no high fructose corn syrup. They're all natural. Really good, clean label product, and that was the whole idea of what I wanted to do. And they're great. They're good. They taste good too. So a lot of positive feedback on these products.
I've talked to folks that are in the business now, and obviously getting into the brick and mortar side is really key to ultimate success. But when we break it down at the end of the day, I mean, we're in business to make money. Are sauces and rubs a revenue stream for you, or is it a break even, and if I can make some money, then that's good? Or, I mean, are you looking to make?
Yeah, so I'm making money on it. I mean, I'm not only just breaking even. I mean, my whole approach to doing the retail line was to, I don't have a brick and mortar. I don't have a space that somebody can come up and buy a slab of ribs or, pulled pork sandwich. So if they want, they got to hire me for catering. Not everybody wants the catering. They just want to have dinner. They just want to have to do something. They've got their own tri-tip steaks, chicken, stuff like that, salmon that they want to put seasoning on. So the idea really is for these rubs and the sauces are to put my brand in somebody's hand and have them have a taste of what I'm doing. And so, and then use it in their own application, whether it's on a stovetop or an oven, whether it's a grill, a low and slow smoker, or on popcorn, or whatever they, corn on the cob, whatever they want to use it on, which is really great. So it kind of transcends lots of just different, applications. It's just not just one. It's just, I want to get my brand into people's hands, and I've had this stuff is long overdue too. For years, I've had people ask me for rubs and sauces, and I just haven't really been honestly there, both financially and also just mentally ready to go about it. The onboarding with some of these companies is tremendous. It takes a long time. It was a learning. It was an education and patience on my end. So it was a lot of fun. I'm glad that things are up. I've got one more rub that I'm going to launch probably by the end of the year. I've got another sauce that's going to launch next year, and I'm excited about those. And that'll make what I consider a nice family of products to get out to the market for people, and it'll give me a nice, give people a nice choice. So I'm really excited about it.
Sauces and rubs are out. If you're lucky enough to live around the catering radius, you can probably get Sugars to come and cater your event as well. And August 1st, you will see Lene and a bunch of other folks competing on the new TV show Barbecue Brawl, Flay vs. Simon on the Food Network. In the meantime, you can visit the website. That will get rehauled or overhauled or updated or whatever you want to call it here in a week or so, sugarsbarbecue.com. And we are talking with the pitmaster of Sugars Barbecue, Lene Oxley-Loop. Lene, always appreciate the time. Great getting caught up with you. Let's do it again sooner than later.
Yes, let's do it. Greg, thank you so much. Have a good night. Bye, guys.
You got it. There she is, Lene Oxley-Loop from Sugars Barbecue. Bringing it strong, of course. And a ball of fire. A lot of great energy on Lene, which I certainly appreciate as a host. Okay, we got Dion Blumenrader ready to give his quarterly update. A lot of people ready for the one sauce update. A lot of people making great catchphrases right here in the instant chat. For instance, so many foods, just one sauce. Ding, ding. It's a winner. Hey, if you have a product or service that you're looking to get in front of a captive audience that really likes barbecue and grilling, you can hit me up right now, Greg at the BBQ Central Show, and I will talk to you about the exorbitant fees that one would have to incur in order to sponsor the show. We have an open spot right here where I can read a copy that you make. You can change it every week if you want. You can list it on the newsletter, on the website. You get a logo on the homepage, all that good stuff. But remember, target market, right? Everybody that listens to this show has some type of an affinity for live fire. So if you have rubs or sauces or equipment or accessories or whatever, and you've always wanted to jump in on the show, now is your time to do it. Seasonal guy fell off, so we are looking to fill at the moment. It will go quick. 216-220-0966 is the hotline if you want to cut an ID. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. If you want to email me or if you want to inquire about the open spot, that will go quickly. And Dion Blumenrader is coming up next from One Sauce. Stick around. Be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, this portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. Are you ready to find out where you rank against all competitive barbecue teams across the country? Visit Smokin', S-M-O-K-I-N, SmokinWithSmithfield.com to check your rank on the Smokin' with Smithfield National Barbecue Championship Leaderboard. SmokinWithSmithfield.com is the website. Don't forget, in order to take part in that championship and to continue to gain points, you have to register. That is free also at the same website, SmokinWithSmithfield.com. All right, helping me close out the show tonight is the topic or case of 2019 Barbecue Central Show documentary, where we are tracking the progress on the release of the One Sauce into the sauce markets or the barbecue market, whatever you want to call it. Here to give us the second quarter update, the creator of the One Sauce, Dion Blumenrader. Dion, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, Greg. How are you?
I'm absolutely fabulous, Dion, and I saw it in the instant chat, and I do have to apologize. You were a big fan of the Creep song, but I believe I've changed your mind, and I might say thank goodness. That was one of your jams, right? You love that jam?
I did. I actually, my wife and I just got into yacht rock radio not very long ago, and we really enjoy that station. And I was like you. I just didn't pay attention to the words. I just liked the music, but now that song's ruined for me.
Oh, I know. Like I've heard that song easily 1 billion times, and I have no idea why 3 days ago my let's listen to the lyrics thought kicked in, and it ruined everything for me. So, Kip Winger had it for years and years, but now this mega creep has decided to usurp Kip Winger, and what can I tell you? There we go. All right, so we have some updates to pass along here just so I can refresh everybody. I had said, hey, I'm interested in following somebody over the course of 2019 and doing some type of a documentary. Things that were well documented was my thought of following 3 teams of the competition side that did a lot of competitions, a medium amount of competitions, and just a few, and meet up with them like once a month or once every other month, and I didn't do that at all. It was a great concept, but I didn't execute very well, so I wanted to change that. And you stepped up to the plate and said, hey, I'm ready to try and get this sauce thing off the ground, and I'd be open to and willing to share everything that's going to be going on. So it can be used as a reference material if somebody else is looking to do it. So good setup there. So as we look here, so second quarter of the year has passed. We just started the third quarter here in July. So where are we at currently in the One Sauce release?
One Sauce is set to go to first run on August 5th. I just talked to the co-packer today. We got the final prices for what it's going to cost me or their fee for packaging it. The ingredients will be ordered tomorrow, and I will be direct shipping them to them. And we're ready to run it August 5th. We're going to make 800 bottles of One Sauce.
800 bottles. How many is that? How does that work out in gallons? Or do you have to order by bottle?
100 gallons.
Okay, so was it 100 gallon? Is that like the minimum order from whoever the bottler is?
We're talking with Red Law. I think they would have gone to a 50, but when you start looking at the numbers, it's beneficial to you to go to try to push it a little farther and go with 100 gallons. It's going to be, that's a lot of sauce. This is going to be hard for me to get this much of it out there because I haven't done any of the promoting other than talking to your show. But cost wise, it just made sense to go with 100 on the first one and hope for the best. We're going all in on this thing, so I'm not going to hold back now.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more in depth on prices and costs to you. So do you have like I know the last time we were talking about, do we want a glass bottle, do we want a plastic bottle? And obviously there's costs associated with both. Then there were going to be certain fees that the packaging company was going to be using. So what are we looking at for a total bottle cost, I guess?
Well, I was just sitting down when I talked to you earlier about doing this. I figured I better add some stuff up. So the total bottle cost with everything, and this is including, you have to buy a barcode, and that's a $250 cost, and that's every year. So you got to figure that in per bottle. I decided on I call it a unique shaped plastic bottle, and we decided on a flip cap on it because I wanted that for the squeezability of it. And then we went with, I had to go, I think I talked about this last time, I had to get the label artwork and design done by a company, and the company was called Gold Spark Design. And that cost $881 to have all that done, and that's the final design. That's the front label and the back label, and that's all the ingredients and all the stuff that is required to be on that bottle. And then I had to have the labels. That was sent to a company called Consolidated Labels that actually prints the labels, and I had 2,000 of those made because you have to have 1,000 front, 1,000 back. And that ended up coming to around $1,400. But that does include, there's 3 one-time charges in there. They call them plate charges. And there's 3 of those in there. So this first run is going to be really expensive. It's going to be really top-loaded with expenses. But if this takes off, like I hope it does, it's going to get cheaper. Every batch or every run that you do is going to get cheaper because of some of this stuff, and including the Gold Spark design stuff, that's one-time artwork that once you go to more runs of it, you're going to lose those charges and you're going to start making more. Mm-hmm. But long-winded answer, but it come down to right now, one sauce, the first production of one sauce is going to cost $6.82 a bottle, which is higher than I was thinking it was going to be. But then again, I have no expectations. I've never done anything like this before. So we're looking at very little profit margin, if any, in the first run of one sauce. But I'm in farming, so I guess I'm used to not making money.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. I mean, the government isn't helping you get this project off the ground, though, right?
Well, maybe I better work on it. I'll go up there and start pounding on the office doors a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's all-in cost on the first run? Where are you at?
Yeah, all-in cost, I guess I didn't total all of that up, but let's see, we were at, over $3,000 last time. We're going to be well over that $5,000 mark when I get this all said and done. And then I haven't even started the advertising and the distributing part of it. I haven't even got to that point. So we're going to be, and I think I talked about it before, I was prepared this was going to be a $5,000 to $10,000 endeavor. Mm-hmm. And I believe, and you got to figure your hotel and your fuel and stuff, because I'm going to go back down to Colorado. When they do the first run, they always like to have the people there. So I'm going to go down there and be there for the first run. And, and all the shipping charges, none of that's figured into this either. So we're going to be when it's all said and done, we're going to be at $10,000.
Wow, wait. All right. So, and you're at $6.82 a bottle, and that's filled and everything's on it, blah, blah, blah.
Yep, that's ready to go. That's to hit the store shelf or whatever means I try to pursue to get this out there.
All right, so if I buy a $6.82 bottle of one sauce, do you have a then shipping charge that you've already calculated out to stick on top of that, or is that something that you still got to work on?
Yeah, that's something. All the logistics of that part of it, that's going to be really hard for me. That's going to take some thinking and some. I don't know if I'm just going to do all local stuff here. Hit the crafts fairs and the expos and do local stuff and try to push it that way, or where I'm going to head with this. I guess I would like to, and I hope it's possible to work with you, and I would like to have opportunities to give away bottles to your listeners if
sure.
you want to set something up, and
Right.
and of course you and all the Centralites. I mean, I'm willing to give bottles to anyone that wants to try them because I want honest feedback
Whoa!
on
Don't
this.
say that. No. You'll lose $10,000 more dollars. Oh my God! I mean, we love free stuff like nobody's business. But I mean, I certainly appreciate your generosity, and we will do giveaways and however we can, help promote and get this thing off the ground. I mean, we
Sure,
certainly want to
sure.
help you out in that way. So, I mean, are we looking at? So we're like $6.82 a bottle, 10,000. After that first run, then if we're at, let's say, break even or we're a very minimal profit, with all the other, you said there were some fees like plating fees and the artwork fee, like
Yes.
those things decay off, and that's where a little bit more margin can be built in, or are you going to be looking at a raise of price in a second round to start making some margin?
Nope, I believe that's where the price will, like you said, decay off, and I should lose, roughly figuring, I should lose like $1.10 off the total on the second run when we take all those plate charges and stuff away. So you're looking at $5.82 cost a bottle then, and that's okay because I think we talked about this, or I talked about it with my friends, and when we get to that $8, that's when people start going, whoa. So if I can keep it at $7 or the first run, there's going to be little or no margin on this first run, but after that, if I can keep it at $7 or $7.50, I can make my money on that, and I think that's not going to scare people away from buying it.
Deon Blumenreiter joining me here on the show. He is the pitmaster of Big Hoss Barbecue, also the creator of One Sauce. Do we have a website worked out yet?
We do not. I do have a GoDaddy. I bought 2 of them. I've got 2 domain names bought, but I have not taken that next step. And I didn't want to do that until I had a final date on when I was going to have the product in my hand. So now that I've got that date, August 5th is when I will have that product. Now I'm going to start pursuing the other stuff, get some websites up, and get some avenues for people to purchase it. But I wanted to make sure I had the product before I put anything like that up.
Deon, from a marketing and sales standpoint, have you reached out to any retailers now that you have a production date and you can probably tangibly feel those pallets and pallets of sauce probably, I guess, are going to be coming into some type of a warehouse where you're at, or maybe your garage or something, but you want to get these out to sell or to have to kind of entice people to buy a load of them. Have you reached out to local merchants and so forth?
Just a couple of local grocery stores, and their feedback was, well, sounds great. As soon as you get it, let us know. So that's where I'm at with that. And as far as hitting any bigger population stores around here, I'm going to wait till I have the product, because the biggest thing with my product is you have to taste it. And I'm sure that applies to any product. I understand that. But with mine is you really have to taste it, and then you understand. It's like I said when this all started, my product will sell itself, I think, because it is so unique. There's nothing else like it. So I'll just take a bottle and I'll go to these other stores and I'll just try to share it with them. And I think they'll, I'll be able to market it directly to them once I have it.
Have you looked into Amazon at all or no?
Yes, I have looked into that, and it is something I want to do when I get this. First, I want to get my website up, and then I do want to look at Amazon, yes.
All right, so what are our goals for next, like over the course of the next 2.5 months before we rejoin for end of third quarter? What do we like to see?
Well, my goal is to have a successful first run. All the bills are paid, and have cases of the product, like you said, in a warehouse, or that's something I need to figure out too. But I need to have the product here, and then when we talk again, you're going to have it in your hand already at that point. You're going to be able to tell me what you think of it, and then we'll just start worrying about marketing it.
This is Dion Blumenrader. He is my 2019 barbecue documentary story, and he is bringing his one sauce to market, and we have been following right from the very beginning. August 5th is the first run. He's got 800 bottles. That's 100 gallons that is going to be drawn into bottles from, it's Red Law, you said, out there in Denver?
Yep, in Golden, Colorado, Red Law co-packer.
All right, so that's who's going to be bottling the sauce, and we'll see where it goes from here. $6.82 is where it looks like, all filled up and ready to ship to you, and we'll see how it goes. Dion, always appreciate the candor, the insight. Again, I do think this is going to be a valuable resource as people start to look back and decide whether or not they want to take this challenge, but it's $5,000 to $10,000. Well, we think more towards the 10, right? All said and done, all-in cost?
I believe so, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll see how it goes at the close of the bell in the third quarter. Dion, always appreciate the time and the insight, pal. Thanks so much.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Greg.
You got it. There he is, the creator of the one sauce and the pitmaster of Big Hoss Barbecue, Dion Blumenrader. And I mean, that is quite a nothing risked, nothing gained, right? The guy believes in the sauce. I really love the passion that Dion has for his sauce and the belief that he has in his sauce and how much it is unlike anything else that is on the market currently. And we will, I guess, collectively all be the judge of that to a certain degree. We'll give some away here. It sounds like if you get in touch with him after he has bottles, he will make sure that they get out to you in your hands so you can also evaluate. And maybe this is a whole Barbecue Central Show group effort in helping Dion get his sauce all across this great land of ours. So we'll see what happens at the end of next quarter. All right, I will quickly talk to you about the Barbecue Guru. They created automatic pit temperature control technology because they want to make your barbecue and grilling life easier. If you have a ceramic cooker, a stick burner, a bullet-style cooker, whatever you got, there's a very good chance that they have some kind of a automatic pit temperature control device for you. If you're looking for a cooker and you really like ceramic cookers, they have one that is a built-in power draft fan already in it. It's called the Monolith. You might want to look at that. If you have a Barbecue Guru controller already and you're going to purchase a Monolith, you don't need a controller to make it operate. Just hook up that controller right to the fan that's built in. The only one like it, by the way. And away you go. If you want to upgrade that controller technology, go to the website, bbqguru.com, or call 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. And check out what they have. If you have any questions, you give them a call. They'll make sure you're outfitted with exactly what you need to get you up and running right out of the box. Also, really cool accessories like that rib ring that I've been talking to you about. You can double the cooking capacity of ribs on any ceramic cooker when you get the rib ring. Plus, nice and clean. Got a really big catch tray underneath that thing. Or you can take out one rack of ribs, put in a whole chicken, 5 racks of St. Louis-style cut ribs, and a whole chicken. Barbecue delight. Barbecue Guru, well-documented, non-fan of 16-year-old women. Thank God. Benny Nardotes, or whatever your name is. Creep. All right, we're back to wrap the show right after this. Stick around, be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
All right, thanks again to Dion Blumenrader for coming on last segment and giving us the fill. $6.82 a bottle, ready to ship to you. Filling August 5th. 800 bottles / 100 total gallons, and he's 10 grand all in right now. Currently 0 on the profit side. But we'll change that. Come on now. Stiff upper lip, Dion. We're going to do it. We'll see what's happening next quarter. All right, let's go ahead and make tracks to get out of here. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with who? That's right. Stephen Raichlen came back. Jaunting around the great countries of Italy, Portugal, and the like. Right back here in America, Martha's Vineyard. Whole beef tenderloins. Give them a try. Why not? Then we talked with Robyn Lindars, grillgirl.com. She's got a new set of grilling school videos out on YouTube right now. Go to grillgirl.com, link over there. Check them all out. Especially if you're new to this thing. Called Live Fire Cooking. Second hour, Lene Oxley Loop. Sugar's Barbecue. Sugar's Barbecue, BARBECUE. Sugarsbarbecue.com. New website rehaul coming, or overhaul, whatever. Rubs and sauces for sale. She's going to be on TV with some other folks August 1st on the Barbecue Brawl Flavors of Simon Food Network show. It's a 4 or 5 episode series, I guess. And we close it out with my man Dion Blumenrader. Yeah. One Sauce and the pitmaster of Big Hoss Barbecue. Big show planned for you next week, of course. We know it's the 4th Tuesday of the month, so at a minimum, the embedded correspondents are in, but we have plenty of guests otherwise. Hopefully, no creepy songs make it. Listen, potentially, for any random mentions of the Barbecue Central show on the Howard Stern show going forward from now on. And until next September 11th, 2001, I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
Hi, this is Gene Acasella from Port St. John, Florida, and you're listening to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show.